Okay, we're installing an engineered wood floor, mahogany finish, glue down. Boards are about 4 inches wide. And right now we're halfway through the process. And give you a quick update as far as where we were. First thing we did was find the center of our room. The center was snapped just below that window mullion in the center, a little bit to the left of the outlet. So we're actually one board past our halfway point. And once we snapped the center line, found dead center of the room, then what we did was we broke from that center line over to our first board, which was a dry fit, just to get an idea of where to start, and mark the floor. Then we went from the center here, marked the floor one board in, which would have been our starter, then snapped a new line from there all the way down at a 4-inch line. Then double checked each measurement from right end to center line, from left end to center line, to maintain square throughout the room. Now the first thing you want to make sure is that you have a perimeter off your wood contact frame. So what we're doing here is, because we have everything down to the bare floor from water damage, we're slipping just slightly below and underneath of the drywall. Alright, so right about to the beginning of the drywall is usually enough, because your baseboard will cover back over. Okay, and the technique involved on this is a glue down, which can be done 2 different ways. It can be done with the 3/16 trowel. It can be done with what they call a dry tack, where you actually will put your film down. And if you'll see here, this is what's residual left over from the last board installed. That's a footprint. Okay. Little word of caution though, as it's drier, it is a little bit more difficult to maneuver your board. The only basics you need to remember for the very beginning is to put wedge splits behind, so the wood floor doesn't keep pushing back as you're adding to it. You have to constantly just make adjustments until you get several boards deep, which will then prevent it from running. Okay, once you put down your glue, I'm putting down it as a wet install. So once I notch trowel everything down, then I'll put one board in at a time. And it's a simple process. It just lays right down, slide it together, and then meet your left and right ends together and go from there. Skip pattern or line pattern is at random. There is no tracking. You don't want to go from one end and track across so it looks like there's inherent tracks. If you look at the patterns of the boards here, they're all at random sizes. It could be 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 3.5 foot, 4, 4.5. There's usually the maximum board. Okay, and then once you reach that point, your floor itself will maintain and it won't slide back into your wall, as long as you have the brackets behind it which keep it from going through. When this is done, the particular phone wires and alarm wires will be installed underneath the drywall, then the baseboard can safely go up against that without compromising any wires. Okay, you see the next section's installed. Things troweled out. Aim it right there. Alright, to cut your end piece, hold your piece in, flip it the opposite way, mark your piece, then go out and cut it, bring your piece back in, slip your sides in, and then drag your ends together. And then that piece is done. Got it done, which I'll just show you the install.
if you